Listen, I'm going to be honest. Saturday night's main event post show was a bit of a struggle because I don't know how to talk about CM Punk as a world champion. So I had to bring in reinforcements. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy York is back on Squared Circle Radio. Welcome to the show, all of you people. Andy, how's life, man? How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. It's been a hot minute since I've been able to jump on here and do this, but if there was ever a time for me to make my triumphant return, it is right now to gloat in this moment and to bask in the glory that is CM Punk as world champion.
For longer than 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
That's
Welcome
why I
to
jumped
the
on here real quick because you never know when he's going to lose it again, so I had to jump on here.
That's fair. That's fair. He's held it for 48 hours. I think it's a record. He's still, as Paul Heyman said tonight, 432 days short of his other reign, but we'll see if he gets there. That's going to be a topic of discussion tonight. How long is this going to last? Clearly, this is a pivot, but we're going to get into all that. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you're subscribed to the show, like the video, and if you're just listening on podcast, make sure that you are following on whatever platform you have chosen. City Kitty, join us live in the chat. Welcome back, Andy York. He is with us. And Andy, man, before we get into Punk, did Logan Paul just join the Vision? Like, what just happened at the end of Monday Night Raw?
You know you're close to War Games when people just start getting added to groups for no reason, and, and I really think that's where we're at. I don't know. It's especially with how it started and then with how it ended. I was just as confused going off the air as I was watching it.
Yeah, I definitely was. Like, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we know this is a pivot. We know this is not exactly what WWE wanted because they were running hard with Seth Rollins, and that was absolutely obvious. So, Andy, it would be weird to me to think that they would just replace Seth Rollins with Logan Paul full time and think that that's a good idea. Like, it just doesn't add up for me.
Yeah, I think it's the most likely scenario is this leads all to War Games, and Logan's the one that eats the pin, and then they're just kind of done with him after that. They just kind of kick him to the curb. They move on. So I don't know if it's necessarily that he's joining the Vision as much as being on their side whenever this 5-on-5 or 4-on-4 or whatever it's going to look like finally comes to a head.
It seems honestly like it would be 4-on-4 to me.
Yeah.
So if you do the Bronze, Logan Paul, and Brock Lesnar on one side, and then you have CM Punk, the Usos, and probably Roman on the other side, and there's your 4-on-4. Maybe
Yeah,
LA Knight.
maybe. Yeah, I was thinking maybe LA Knight, maybe Cena, if you want to
Yeah.
throw him in there.
Yeah, because I would say then you're probably looking at 5-on-5 because as we're going to discuss here in a little bit, I think Cena may end up falling into War Games now.
Yeah, and I think you could easily put. I mean, spoiler alert of who I'm picking to kind of win the tournament to go with Cena, but you could put either like Drew McIntyre or Gunther on that side of War Games, and that could all still lead to Cena's last match, then lead to other stuff down the line as well.
For sure. City Kitty live in the chat with us. Logan Paul is with whoever he can use to his advantage at the time. Listen, Andy, I have long said that Logan Paul and Paul Heyman is just a fantastic match. Both of them can talk. Both of them are very hated. Both of them have a very punchable face. Like I feel like that they would do really well together. It just seems to be happening at a weird time.
Yeah, I mean, it's that being thrown together the last minute of, okay, what we wanted is not going to happen now, so we've got to pivot. We've got to figure out plan B. What is plan B? Well, this, and this. And I think if you're going to add a very hateable heel to this group, then I don't think of anybody else but Logan Paul to add to it.
Maybe Logan Paul
in a War Games match yet?
Nope.
So, I mean, if you want him in it too, I think it all kind of just comes together.
And I think if the rumors online are Austin Theory, maybe this is a replacement for Austin Theory. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that would be a really weak team for Logan and Austin Theory to be there together. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you could add, if we're talking like from NXT, you could add like an Ethan Page to this group.
Yeah.
And so he could kind of be the up and coming guy going
Mhm,
through.
mhm,
But other than that, like I think Logan's the only one, and then obviously going to add Brock to it for War
mhm,
Games, and
mhm.
so that alignment is not going to last past Survivor Series. I just don't see the Logan Paul. I don't see Logan Paul being with them past Survivor Series either.
We assume Brock, but there might be another scenario for Brock. So let's talk about that. Before we talk about it, make sure that you go back and check out the Saturday night's main event post show that we did immediately following immediate reactions to Punk winning the title, the John Cena announcement, Jade Cargill winning the title, all the things. So I'm going to link that right here in the long form episode. So go back and make sure that you check that out. Having said that, I said it at the top of the show. I can't talk CM Punk winning the world title without bringing in Andy York. He has the title for longer than 5 minutes. It's a miracle. Just kidding. It's not a miracle. I will say, and Andy knows this, I went on record and said I didn't think Punk would be world champion in this run in WWE. I was wrong. It's the right move, Andy, especially in a time like this for somebody that needs to just step in and carry the ball when needed. Punk is clearly that guy. It might not be a long-term solution, and it might not be exactly how they wanted to get here, Andy, but we're here. Punk is the guy. He's getting his moment in the spotlight. We saw that to begin Raw tonight. And I think, as I said it on Busted Open earlier, it wouldn't matter if he would have a rematch with Jey Uso tonight and lost it. People would still be behind him and it wouldn't affect him. So it's good to see him get his flowers, at least for a minute.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if you're going to pivot to somebody who you can trust to tell stories to build on and has a lot of directions to go with the world title, I think it is Punk. I think there's so many more directions they can go with Punk than they could with Jey Uso. And so I think putting the title on him adds, makes even more sense. Obviously, the storyline between him and Seth coming together, I think it makes the most sense to put it on him as well. And we could be coming to a point where the WrestleMania match could be Punk versus Braun Breaker for the world title.
Mm,
Um, and then I tell you what would be even more interesting if they could even happen at some point down the line. We're more than likely going to get a Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed versus CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Like I could see them two teaming together,
yep.
and then kind of we're going right back down the storyline again of these two just
Yes.
kind of feuding forever while they're in WWE together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and then throw Drew McIntyre in there, and then it's the ultimate fight forever with those three
Yeah,
guys. Um, we still need that triple threat match that we've been begging for a long time.
it's
I mean,
true.
maybe it comes to fruition when Seth comes back. Okay, let's talk about those avenues. Before we sort of break down a couple of guys that I've got spotlighted that I think, because clearly, as big of a babyface as CM Punk is, he can put these heels over in a big way. I think that was part of the problem on Saturday night, that maybe the moment didn't feel right for Punk because it was against another babyface. People want to
Yeah,
cheer Jey Uso. It wasn't something that Punk could overcome. And again, we know this was a pivot. So my prediction, before we get to these guys, my prediction for Saturday night's main event was that the title would still be held up in some way, that the Bronze would come in and just totally wreck the match. What
yeah.
what was your thoughts going into that? And did you even see that as a possibility?
Yeah, I saw that as a real possibility of the Bronze getting in there and causing havoc and causing the match to be thrown out. The one I saw, obviously, as a Punk fan the last year, yes, I think he's going to win, and yes, I think there's also a chance that he's going to get screwed out of the title very quickly
Mm,
as well. And I thought there was a real possibility that either Jay was going to turn, or we were going to get like a double turn with Jimmy and Jay turning on
mm,
Punk, winning the world title, and then they kind of leave together. Um, Something like that I thought was an aspect of that they could go down. But I think the best case scenario is what we got with Punk getting the title and winning it. It's, I hate to say it, especially with how the match went and with
yeah,
how Jay looked. Like Jay looked rough in the
we
match. He
did.
looked he looked very blown up from the beginning.
Yep.
And so that could be, well, that could be like actually happening. It could be a part of the storyline that they're kind of telling of Jay's
Mhm.
lost himself and he's kind of going back down this path.
Yep.
So I think you could kind of throw it up to that, but I do think this was the best possible outcome for the world title is to have Punk win it because now you can have so many other options of new challenges or new matchups that we haven't seen before. With Jay, I feel like you're going to have to kind of run through the same gauntlet of people that we've already run through.
Right, for sure. So you mentioned Punk and Breaker possibly at WrestleMania. Let's take that a step further. Do you even think, because again, we're all acknowledging this is a pivot. We're sort of booking on the fly here. This was probably not long-term planning right here.
Right.
Do you think Punk even keeps the title that long? I assume he keeps it through the end of the year at least.
Yeah.
Maybe he drops it at Rumble on the way to WrestleMania. Like, what do you think he keeps it that long?
I mean, I guess it depends on Seth's timetable
Yep.
of when he's coming back. Um, but then again, like at this point, why not? Like, why not
Yep.
keep the title on him until at least Mania? To one, you're giving him one final run with a world title more than likely. You're
Yep.
giving him the opportunity to have some of these matches that he talked about tonight that we probably wouldn't have gotten to see for a world title. And then you can put him in there with a young guy like a Braun Breaker or, even a Bronson Reed, or there's even a possibility of a heel LA Knight and CM Punk going for the world title at WrestleMania.
Yep.
I think that to me is more intriguing than another standard CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the world title. So I think I think it makes the most sense again, depending on Seth's timetable, for him to hold the title until Mania at least.
Yeah, I think LA Knight is a huge possibility. Maybe for the Royal Rumble. I think you could build to
Yeah,
that. I think this is a great way to turn LA Knight heel and explore some different avenues with LA Knight. CM Punk's the perfect guy. Whether LA Knight were to win the title or not, Punk is the perfect guy to do that. Let me tell
yeah.
you, I talked about another pivot a minute ago when we were talking about war games. I think there is a strong possibility that CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. Yes, that's a throwback picture. I know Andy
Yeah,
laughed
it
at
is.
that one. I think there's a strong possibility, Andy, that CM Punk battles Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series for the World Heavyweight Championship as an attraction World Championship match. It's in a stadium. Take them both out of the War Games picture for that championship. Thoughts?
I mean, do you have Brock win it?
No.
Like that's the thing. If and then are you going to have Punk beat Brock clean? I think that's the other thing that you kind of have to weigh in when you do that.
I
I'm
think what
not against it.
I think what you could do is sort of show more cracks in the vision as
Yeah,
Paul brings Brock in, and maybe Breaker somehow gets involved and accidentally causes Brock the match. Therefore,
yeah,
you lead to Brock versus Breaker before Breaker's even world champion. So
yeah.
you could build that in that way, maybe.
Yeah, I could also see a scenario though where he joins the Vision, wins the title, and then the match at Mania is Brock Lesnar versus Braun Breaker for the world
That's true.
title. Like I think that's a very real possibility, but it's also something we have seen, not the match, but that story we have seen how many times with Roman over the
Yep.
last 15 years or however long it's been. So I'm not sure about that. I could see a scenario where we do get Brock and Punk at Mania for the world
Mm,
title.
maybe.
Like, I think that's another like, Mania matchup for Punk that you could have. Um, you
Mm,
have to have something big for Braun at Mania if he's not in the world title. I think
correct.
that is very clear. And that could be just a one-on-one matchup with Seth. Like, I think that is another real possibility depending, again, on his injury and his timetable.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, Andy, since you've been gone, I've sort of, or at least a direction that I'm seeing this podcast sort of go in is I'm developing this new segment in my head. I'm still fleshing out how it's going to work, but it's
Okay.
called If I Had the Pencil. So, if I had the pencil and if I'm booking it, I'm going to tell
Mhm.
you what my WrestleMania match for CM Punk would be. Andy, if you had the pencil right now, who would be CM Punk's WrestleMania opponent for the World Heavyweight Championship as him being the champion?
Right now, I think the most intriguing matchup would be babyface CM Punk versus heel LA Knight. I think
Mm,
there's so much that you could do with both of those guys. And both of them deserve to be in that spot to have that
mhm,
moment. And so I think that's something that you could absolutely do. The stories that they could tell. I think LA Knight needs to be in there with a guy like Punk because the last couple promos involving both of them, LA Knight hasn't looked the best. But I
correct.
think him
Yeah.
being a heel and just kind of let go and just kind of be himself and not have to try to pander to the crowd or anything like that. I think that would take a lot of the edge and the pressure off for him. And so I think that if right now, if I had to book it, I would probably book Punk versus LA Knight.
Here's who I would book. You ready for this? Roman Reigns versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. Now, I don't know how the Walrus fits into this, but I think Roman Reigns battles CM Punk, and here's why I think this. I think this CM Punk Jey Uso thing continues for a little bit longer. There's still this struggle between them. There was no clean finish tonight in the tag match, obviously. I think there's still a struggle between these two. And I think ultimately it leads to Roman Reigns coming back. And Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia in 2026. And he looks at Jey Uso and he says, "Let me show you how it's done. Let me do what you couldn't do." And he goes and he beats CM Punk for the second rate championship. He can even in the promo say, "Look, this is a second rate championship. This is beneath me. I don't need this garbage, but I'm going to go do it to show you that this is what the tribal chief does." So not only does this story wrap up this Roman Punk thing, but it
Yeah,
also furthers this Roman J thing. And we haven't even talked about how Jimmy factors into all of this because he was
yeah.
nowhere to be seen tonight. And that was what I was sitting here yelling at the TV about. But I think if I had to book it right now, the biggest marquee match that you can do, especially because the face of the brand is probably going to miss WrestleMania, you got to replace it with something big. Brock and Punk is probably up there. I'm gonna go Roman versus Punk on the Raw
Well,
side.
if you look at the debacle that was the video campaign for WrestleMania 42, the four people that were at the table were Cody, Roman, Brock, and Punk, and
Yep.
I think a combination of that could be a real possibility of maybe it's Roman Cody again and we get Punk Brock, or maybe
Yep.
it's Punk and Roman and Brock and Cody. There's a possibility in a world where we get Brock and Roman again and we get Punk Cody at WrestleMania. Like I think there's a lot of options using those four guys. I think they were the four picks for a reason, and
Yeah.
I think that I think that's a massive part going into this.
Yeah, for sure. It wouldn't surprise me at all if some other combination of those four guys for sure. It'll be interesting to see how they kayfabe it that they're in
Yeah,
this promo together. That's
yeah, yeah.
that's why I was very hesitant to say Punk versus Brock at Survivor Series because they're just now running these promos and they're sitting right there beside of each other.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
they
know.
did release the backstage footage where they weren't actually on set together, so it's
True.
you could kind of play it together.
That's true. That's true. We'll have to see. Again, WWE in this word pivot, we're definitely pivoting right now. We're booking on the fly with this CM Punk title run. We will have to see how long it lasts. Andy, we got to talk about some other things for Monday Night Raw tonight. And I'm going to harken back to last week. I feel like this Bailey situation with Bailey and Lyra not only losing last week, getting beaten down, and then losing again this week, Do you feel like we're moving too slow in this development of this new Bailey character? Because it almost feels like to me we've forgotten that she has this other side. Like, yes, Lyra is questioning her loyalty, but we're not seeing any action from Bailey, and I'm starting to get a little worried about it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's one of the things I kind of thought of is why haven't we explored this other side of Bailey yet? Like we've played. She was
Yeah,
kind of the hugger the first week when she came back and everything else,
yeah,
and then she went back to being the, I guess, the idiot, you idiots version or the
right.
heel version of this character. We haven't really seen like the split personalities on screen at the same time or going back and forth between the two. I'm kind of waiting for that every week of like when is she either going to snap on Lyra or when is she going to be, the Bailey Buddy version again? Like there's just so many options that they can go with, and we're kind of just going with nothing. We're kind of going with what we were doing before Bailey even left to do all these vignettes and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's really strange because like even we're not getting like a quick camera glimpse of her and then she changes. And then,
Right.
we're not even getting any of that. And especially losing a championship match last week, you would think would prompt at least something. And but now all we're talking about is Asuka and Kyrie didn't attack Bailey. Like,
Yeah.
okay, if we're gonna keep going that route, what are you gonna do? Put them together, damage control 2.0? Like, why? Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. We had gold with
Yeah.
this split personality Bailey, and now it seems like we're fumbling it.
And I don't even know why they put Bailey back in a tag team as soon as
Right.
she got back. Like I
Right.
I, I think she should have distanced herself from Lyra on purpose, like to just do her own thing. That matchup again with Bailey or Becky is right there. I think that she would be a great opponent for Stephanie Vacure now for her women's world title. I think there's just so many other options, and yet we've kind of just saddled her with the same tag partner she had before Mania, and we're not really doing anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's quite frustrating. All right. We talked about Survivor Series earlier, and we're going to talk about John Cena's final opponent in this tournament situation that's going to go on. But what happened tonight on Monday Night Raw makes me think there's going to be one guy excluded from this tournament, and that is Dominic Mysterio. Because Andy, I don't know why, because everybody's saying Cena Dom, Cena Dom. Andy, Survivor Series is in San Diego. Why in the world has nobody put it together that you would get Dom versus Ray in a stadium show in their hometown for a championship? Like, that's so obvious when it happened tonight.
Yeah.
I was like, why didn't I think of this? This is so obvious.
Yeah, I kinda didn't think of it either. Like, I kinda was on the train of Cena versus Dom. What's the one title Cena hasn't won in his whole career? The IC title. You put him in there with Dom, who, yeah, he's gonna be in his hometown area, but he's also going up against Cena. So, like, he's more than likely gonna get booed out of the building going up against Cena. This makes a lot of sense to me too, doing it like this. Um, I kinda wish we'd have got a mini run with Cena and the IC title,
Mhm.
just to kind of give it to him. But I do really love that we're going back to Ray and Dom is just. I should be sick of seeing it because we've seen it so many times at so many big stages, and yet I'm not. Like every single time, I'm like, yeah, let's just keep running it back because they
Yep.
as a father and son, they have great chemistry together, and they
Yep.
tell a great story every single time. And so I think it's going to be another great match between them.
I thought that the reason that Dom got the AAA championship was to have a match with Ray in that promotion for that
Yeah,
championship. And that would be the last one that they would do. But seems like that, again, we're getting it in San Diego. Any chance, Andy, this ran through my head. I don't know if it did yours or not. Any chance this is Ray's retirement match?
it could be. I still believe he's winning the AAA title at some point. Like
Hmm. Yeah.
they want Rey Mysterio to have their world title at some point. I could see a scenario where Mania this year is Ray's last match.
Mm.
Because I don't. We've already had Goldberg retire this year. Do we really want to have Ray and Cena retire this year at the same time too? So I think
Well, I mean,
that's
next year you're going to have Ray and AJ Styles
AJ.
retire the
Yeah,
same year. So,
yeah, yeah. But I think there would be a lot more I think there would be a lot more press around it right now being Ray. I think they would build it up more if it was, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that
Right.
he does. This is his retirement match against Dom.
For sure. All right. We're going to talk more about that over the next couple of weeks. We appreciate you guys being with us. We're going to talk John Cena's Last Time Is Now tournament that begins next week. We know 4 names that are in it. We're going to discuss it on the other side of this commercial break. Let's hear from the Reverend Tom Bryce at SportsWire Radio.
Looking for all the latest happenings in the world of sports and wrestling? Well, you're in luck because SportsWire Radio has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. With great shows in the world of sports, such as the Pinstripe Chronicles, hosted by Uncle Tats, Donald Stewart, and Rob Barrows. New York Baseball Talk with Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska. The Liftoff Jets, also hosted by Chris Bazaya and Sharman Phillip. Neil Villapiano and the Devil's State of Mind. Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan Chat. In the world of wrestling, SportsWire Radio has you covered with Squared Circle Radio, featuring Chris Belcher, Andy York, and Jared Justice. Those sit-down marks with DB, Primo, AJ, and Michael. A work in progress, featuring the Mayor of Canton, Piles, and Glenn Abbott. You can catch all of these great shows and more anytime, anywhere, and any place via the Listen Live button on SportsWireRadio.org, and you can also catch SportsWire Radio anytime on YouTube at SportsWire Radio 6579 to catch all the latest happenings in the world of wrestling. SportsWire Radio has you covered. It's all sports matters and all wrestling matters here on SportsWire Radio. I am your host, the owner of SportsWire Radio, the #1 global radio station, the owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the owners of the Pride Wrestling Federation. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce.
Thank you, Tom Bryce. Thank you to all of you who are watching our show live or you're listening to the replay on podcast. We appreciate you doing that. My name's Chris Belcher. The Young Buck, Andy York, is back in the house with us here on Squared Circle Radio Live, immediately following Monday Night Raw. That's where you can catch us on this here YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed, it doesn't cost you a thing. It helps us a ton. Please make sure you do that. Andy, we're about 30 minutes into this show. Are you getting your sea legs back under you? Are you feeling okay now?
Yeah, it's starting to come back to me. I haven't done this in a minute, so it's I was a little nervous getting on here. I'm like, man, I haven't done this in a while. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say anymore. But yeah, it's starting to come back.
With my hands.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right. Well, we appreciate Andy being back here with us. Andy, of course, had a baby not long ago, and he's been taking some time out with his family. If you've heard the baby crying in the background, it's totally okay. It's normal life, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. If my kids were up here, you'd hear them too. All right. So Andy York being back with us, we appreciate him. Again, we appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being here. All right. As I mentioned earlier in the show, Saturday night's main event recap show is in our archives. I'm going to link it right here again as we reacted to the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament announcement, a 16-man tournament. So go back and check out that clip. And then if you missed it, I'm going to read you my 16 names for this tournament. Andy, if you don't have 16 prepared, you don't have to go through all 16. That's fine. But I'm going to recap it because I'm 1 for 4 so far. A couple of these guys that I picked are probably not going to be in it, but I did get one right tonight. And I'll tell you the one that I got. Obviously, you'll know. So the 16 guys that I picked for this John Cena tournament are as follows. Gunther, Rusev, got that one right. The Miz, Carmelo Hayes, Solo Sikoa, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Bronson Reed, LA Knight, Joe Hendry, Ricky Saints, Batista, Chris Jericho, Jey Uso, Matt Cardona, and Roman Reigns are my 16 participants. Andy, obviously I got Rusev right. I did not get Damian Priest, who is announced as his opponent for next week. And then Shinsuke Nakamura and Sheamus are both announced as well. That matchup will take place next week. So I missed those, probably replacing Batista and Chris Jericho and probably Finn Balor. But when you hear my field of 16, Any of those stick out to you? Any names that you'd like to throw in that you're like, hey, let's include them in this tournament?
I think there's going to be a couple of like NXT guys, so I could see
Yep.
like Javon Evans being one of them.
Yep.
I could see Obafemi being one of them as well. Or even an Ethan Page. Like I think Ethan Page kind of getting this opportunity would be good for him too. Cardona, I think, is like a lock to be in this tournament. I think there's
Yep.
no chance that he's not in this tournament.
Yep.
I think one of the Hardy Boys might be in it because
You
they've got
know,
that partnership with TNA.
I thought about Jeff Hardy too. And like, man,
Yeah.
that would be so good if he was in it.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, man, I'm sticking on this train. It's never going to happen. I think Edge is in it. I'm not putting money on it, but I think there's a possibility. I think there's a really good possibility that Edge is in this tournament.
Here's why Edge is not in the tournament. It's the same reason that Jericho is probably not going to be in it. Same reason Batista is probably not going to be in it, because it's a tournament. So what do they have to do? They got to win 4 matches to get to Cena. So you lose the luster of the pop, especially, Andy, if we're drawing every single one of these matches and announcing them ahead of time. You're losing all surprises by doing that. And you're like, the possibility of John Cena standing in the ring and Metalingus hitting, or Break the Walls Down hitting, or I Walk Alone hitting, and the place just going wild. That's all gone because of this format. So I'll ask you, in that sense, do you like this I know you're a tournament guy. Do you like this format for Cena's last match?
I don't. I think this is treated more as a Rumble than it is a tournament, which I'm not. I think there should be different. I think there should have been Saturday night. There should have been a graphic with, let's say, 14, 13 names on there, matchups already set, and then 3 question marks. Or even if you wanted to have like buys, like first round buys or whatever, and those question marks could be 4 of like Cena's former opponents. You could have Jericho, you could have Edge, you could have Cardona, and you could have, Batista if you wanted to, or even Randy Orton if you wanted to, or somebody you could have as that 4th one. And then that could kind of build to it even more. But I'm not a huge fan of of the format that they've done, because I do think you lose something. I think you lose the surprise element of all this. Because like, what are they going to say? They're going to call him Matt Cardona. They're going to call him Zack Ryder when they pull his number or whatever. So I'm not a huge fan of the way they're doing it. I think doing a tournament to decide it, I think is a great idea. I think the format in which they're doing it is not.
I think it's okay to draw a couple of these matchups like Rusev and Damian Priest, like whatever. But I think you have to keep some of them a surprise, especially if we're going this route of people that don't work here. Like, we've both mentioned Matt Cardona, and maybe the people watching this show don't understand how big the Madison Square Garden pop is going to be when Matt Cardona comes out. Like, Andy, you were watching during Zack Ryder's heyday when he just came out of nowhere. Explain to the people like what that's going to mean in his hometown coming back.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a big deal. Like the Zack Ryder wave and the internet craze that he started. He was the first one to use the internet as a wrestler to get over, and obviously got punished for it in a lot of ways of a lot of things that happened to him. But he was the first one to do it, and every week he got more and more and more popular, to the point where you're not just put, especially during that like 2010, whatever, 2008 to like 2012, you're not put with Cena unless you're popular with the fans, because they were doing everything they could to make Cena as popular as he could be. And Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona was with Cena for a majority of that run. So I think the pop is going to be huge. I think the pop is going to be massive. Could you imagine hearing Metalingus though in Madison Square Garden? Like the roof would just explode or break the walls down. The Rock. What if the Rock's music dropped to be in the tournament? And like that's what you hear. I think you're missing something. So I kind of agree. I think we're gonna just do the first couple ones and then leave some surprises down the road.
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the biggest things you lose with this tournament is the fact that all of these guys can't face him. Because
Yeah.
look, think about it. Sheamus was announced tonight. Sheamus won his first world title from John Cena. You know,
Yeah.
Solo Sikoa may be in the tournament. He was one of the last guys to pin John Cena. I know that's
Yeah.
not like a sexy matchup, but there's a reason that when Solo got involved in WrestleMania 40, that John Cena is the one that came out, you know?
Yeah.
So there's history with all these guys. Joe Hendry has been so vocal about getting the John Cena match. LA Knight, we've been begging for that one. Finn Balor doesn't have a lot of history with him, but man, how much fun would that match be? You know, The Miz, just we could go on and on and on. It's a shame all these guys can't face him. But you mentioned it earlier, you alluded to it. Who do you think, if you have the pencil, not who do you think WWE is going to have John Cena face? Who would you have John Cena face in his final match?
It's one of two people, and you could probably guess who the one of two people are.
Okay.
Because I think the finals of this tournament is going to be Drew McIntyre versus Gunther.
Yes.
It's going to be those two guys going at it. And I think the better option is Drew McIntyre.
Agreed.
I think Drew being the guy, and I don't know if they would go this far, but I would go this far as to almost just have Drew completely annihilate Cena.
Yep.
And then you get your comeback of like Cena's about to win, and then it's just snuffed out. Yep. And then there goes Cena. I think Cena goes out on his back against Drew.
Very much like the Brock match at WrestlePalooza.
Yeah, except better. Okay. but I think something like that, because I think Drew needs that, especially after what's happened the last two times he's faced Cody with how it's ended. Like Drew needs to come back looking like a killer. And how does he do that? By just completely annihilating Cena in his last match. So I think this whole tournament is to get to Drew McIntyre.
I hope so. Because like you said, Drew needs that validation. The way he's lost to Cody, the way he lost to Damian Priest when he was going after the championship, the way he lost to CM Punk in that rivalry, which was not bad. But Drew is on a losing streak and he needs a dominant win. All right. Sans Edge and Chris Jericho, because I think they're totally not going to happen. Those would be my picks to face John Cena. But my third option, I picked him earlier, and I'm going to pick him again. Roman Reigns is my pick to face John Cena in his final match. There's history there. It's a guy nobody's talking about. You talk about a way to put butts in the seat to headline Saturday night's main event, Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Are you kidding me? Now, Andy, I know what you're thinking, and a lot of people who might be watching this show and listening are thinking, Roman Reigns doesn't need to beat John Cena. What's that going to do for Roman Reigns? Well, most people said that Brock Lesnar didn't need to beat the Undertaker's streak either. But we now know Brock Lesnar as the killer that he is because he beat the streak of the Undertaker. Now, you can look at the history of Roman Reigns and say that, he's got a 1,300-day championship reign. He held the title for 5 years. I don't think Roman Reigns needs any solidifying. Well, Andy, he did have several years there that we'd all like to forget. He did say suffering succotash in a promo with John Cena. I'm just saying. So I just think that we need to reestablish Roman Reigns as the guy of the WWE. And what a way to do it than to put John Cena out to pasture. That's who I would pick.
Yeah, I think it's a real possibility. I think there's a real chance that Roman is the guy that in Cena's career is his last match. I agree with everything you're saying. I still don't think he needs it. I think there are more people that need it. That's why I don't think Gunther necessarily needs it as much because he got it with Goldberg. I think Drew needs that guy.
I think I'm thinking of it this way, Andy, and the fact that John Cena is, no matter what AJ Styles says, John Cena is the face that runs the place. And he has been for 23 years, give or take whatever. So the person this is not like Gunther beating Goldberg in his final match or, whatever.
Right.
The person that beats John Cena essentially takes John Cena's place for the next however many years. And we've already had the Cody stuff. So maybe that was the passing of the torch. I don't know. But I just think and I think Drew's a great example, especially if you find a way to turn Drew babyface out of it. I don't know how, but if you do, just somebody that can carry the banner for the company and that can respect John Cena on the way out, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get that too of like not having him. You don't want to make him look weak on his way out. Like you want to keep him kind of looking strong.
Yep.
But I think storyline wise, if you want to build Drew up as this monster heel, he needs this moment against Cena more than anybody else on the roster.
Sure he does.
Maybe you could argue Gunther kind of does too because he's coming back from injury and he needs to reestablish himself. But I think he can do that kind of quickly. I think Drew just needs that big win that he hasn't really had in a long, since beating Brock at WrestleMania a couple years ago when nobody was there to watch it. So I think he needs this big moment.
Yep. I agree. We've talked about all of the cons of this whole situation. The pro of this situation, Andy, is that this match doesn't need any time to build. It just, you win the tournament, you're in this match.
Yeah.
So now we have 3 appearances of John Cena that we can build in some sort of story. They can all fit together and be completely separate from this. So I think you could wrap a way to connect the two, I guess, is you could wrap up this tournament at Survivor Series because Cena's already there and you can have them face to face so that we can, boom, here's the promotion in front of a big PLE audience. 2 weeks, John Cena's last match. Here's his opponent. Right there it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I completely agree. And that's kind of why I've been a little skeptical of Cena being in the War Games match itself. Is because I think they want to have that big moment of the two face off. And I don't think you want Cena's last opponent to be necessarily in the match with him in War Games, because then you're kind of getting a preview of it. So that's why I said you could probably see a Drew or Gunther, like whoever doesn't win could be in that War Games match, and that way you still get that interaction if Cena is in it. But I think, again, I don't think Cena's in it because they want to have the two face off. I don't even think Cena wrestles at War Games. I think he is just there. The finals may even take place at War Games, and he is just there to watch it, and then we get the face-to-face after the match is over.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out over the next couple of weeks. Again, John Cena, the last time is now. Tournament begins next Monday in Boston. You've got Sheamus versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Damian Priest against Rusev, and then this Friday, Nick Aldis will draw the next 2 matchups, and I presume those will take place on the following SmackDown. So, Andy, it'll be interesting to see how long this tournament takes, when they wrap it up, how quickly we will know John Cena's final opponent, etc., etc. All right, a couple of things from SmackDown that I want to hit before we get out of here. Andy, I know you're a big fan, and I'm trying to be a big fan. Ilya Dragunov is the new United States champion. And his matches over the last couple of weeks on SmackDown have been nothing short of fantastic. Just nothing short of fantastic. There's no way any person that watches wrestling, fan or not, watches that match and says, man, I'm not entertained by that. Like, it was really, really good. Andy, I need you to sell me. This is why I'm glad you're on the show. I need you to sell me on the premise of the U.S. Championship Open Challenge and why Ilya Dragunov can make superstars in this situation. Because that's originally what it was designed for, with Cena and Sami Zayn. I just have a hard time seeing Ilya Dragunov in that spot.
I think because of the reason you just said, because the match is always going to deliver. No
Okay.
matter who he's in the ring with, they're going to get an opportunity to be in the ring with one of the best wrestlers on the roster right now and get a moment and opportunity to shine. And that's happened the last couple of weeks. Even when he won the title, that match between him and Sammy was fantastic as well. So I think he doesn't have the star power
Right.
to necessarily build stars or to make stars. He does have the capability to make people look really good in defeat. And I think that is what is going to really come from this US title run. I also think this thing comes to a head because Gunther's going to answer it one day, and we're going to get Dragunov versus Gunther for that US title.
Do we save that for WrestleMania?
Maybe. I'm fine with that. I
Yeah.
would totally be fine with that because if that happens, I'm going to say it now, that's still in the weekend. That's the best match of the weekend, maybe a top 10 WrestleMania match of all time. I'm not even joking. I think there's a real possibility that could happen. But I don't know if he has the star power, but he definitely has the in-ring capability to build people up in front of the fans.
Well, Triple H even said it on a podcast appearance this week that WWE is about storytelling and making stars rather than the actual matches themselves. So while Ilya's matches are incredible, I don't know. I'm okay with having the matches because I think that there should be a championship on every show, on both shows, that is defended on every show. I have no problem with that. I love that. I think Sami Zayn was a great replacement for John Cena, but I think they pulled the trigger too soon on taking the title off of Sami for Ilya. And now, I don't know, unless Gunther answers it, are we stuck? Because you want people to cheer Ilya and you want them to get behind him. So who's going to get excited when he loses? Well, it's got to be against the babyface, right? So I don't know. It just feels like a weird conundrum to me.
Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily has to be the babyface though. I think again, a Gunther could beat him, and I think people would get a reaction. I think, obviously with the teases of this past week of Tommaso Ciampa, I think that's a real possibility. But then again, you're kind of running into the same problem of he doesn't have the star power to bring people up. He should. I mean, he really should, but he doesn't have that star power yet on the main roster. I think Aleister Black could beat him, and again, the crowd will go crazy. So I think there are a lot of options. But that's the thing about the open challenge is it could be a heel or it could be a babyface. You don't have to tell the story is the open challenge, the mystery of who it is, and then going into the match. So I don't see a problem with it necessarily. I'm also just a massive Ilya fan, so he can do no wrong in my eyes when it comes to wrestling. And so I'm totally fine with what they're doing with it.
We'll have to see how it goes. I'm trying to keep an open mind with it. I really am. But
I haven't convinced you about Gunther, it's going to be hard to convince you about Ilya.
That's fair. That's fair. I still get bored with some Gunther matches, but I respect Gunther and what he can do. Just like I respect Ilya and what Ilya can do. I mean, that match, I was so not looking forward to the Nathan Frazier match on SmackDown. And then I was like, okay, I can get behind this.
Nathan Frazier is good too. Frazier's really good too.
He's very good. Very, very good. All right. You know what, Andy? This podcast has been very good. Thank you for being here, man. You texted me earlier today and I was like, let's go. Let's go. I'm tired of talking for an hour by myself.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had to get on here and talk about my boy. I had to talk about Punk being world champ. I had to build him up. I didn't even know we were talking about Ilya, so that's even, the cherry on top of coming back. I'm excited.
Oh, I love it. Well, Andy, I appreciate you being here with us. Appreciate all of you who are watching live or watching the replay, listen to the replay. All of the things just help us build this audience. Share the show on your social media. You reach circles that we could never reach. We would appreciate that so much. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. You all know the drill at this point. Just do those things. It would help us a ton. Doesn't cost you a thing. All right. For Mr. Andy York, welcome back, Andy. My name is Chris Belcher. This has been another edition of Squared Circle Radio. We will catch you guys down the road.